This video is a review of the Ultimaker 2 clone that is available from Aliexpress. This UM2 clone is not a knockoff, but more of an exact copy of the real Ultimaker 2. Since Ultimaker releases the design files for these printers, it makes it possible to create an exact copy of the machine rather than an approximation. In my mind, this is what sets a clone apart from a knockoff where someone has tried to recreate the original machine from scratch. The price for these units is considerably less than the original UM2. I suspect this is partly because you're not getting a lot of support with this printer, and also the supplier is not paying for assembly, quality control, warranty, and other things that drive the price up. Last time I checked, the clone was available for about $1,000 Canadian, or about 1/4 the price of the genuine article. The first one I ordered took about 9 days to ship, and about 7 more days to actually get here. I ordered the 1.75mm version, so my printer is automatically not an exact clone of the original, which takes 3mm filament. However, this prevents me from having to keep 2 different types of filaments in stock, which would be extremely annoying. The printer arrived with its parts loosely packed in a box. They do include a high quality power supply. This is a Delta power supply. It is a real power supply, genuine, fully shielded, and very safe. And it's a far better power supply than you would get on any budget printer. You do get some bonuses like extra nozzles and a set of gloves for some reason. All the parts were there and nothing was damaged. The hot end came pre-assembled and ready to mount. The ACM panels arrived with some machine debris still on the panel, but this came right off as soon as I removed the plastic film. Otherwise, the panels were perfectly machined, painted, and even the edges were nice and smooth. Assembly of the unit took me about 10 or 12 hours. No instructions were provided, but you can use the official UM2 assembly instructions. I did make some minor modifications along the way. For example, I do not trust the screw terminals for the bed whatsoever, and I thought the included wiring for the heated bed was a bit on the thin side, so for this reason I substituted my own wires and soldered them directly onto the bed. However, they sell hundreds of these kits and I've never heard anybody complain about it, so maybe the original hardware is fine. The included extruder for the 1.75mm is an almost all metal design, with only the motor drive gear being made out of nylon. The filament, drive gears, case, and adapter plate are all metal. The rest of the assembly went off without a hitch. Since then I've even got a second printer and put about 1,000 hours of time on each unit. Having said that, there were a few issues, some of which would happen around 1,000 hours, some of which were my fault, some of which were Ultimaker's fault, and some of which were probably because it's a clone. The first problem I encountered was that the SD card reading was not that reliable. The machine was picky on which SD card it wanted, and it would encounter errors causing the head to jump around or missteps. I fixed this by placing the shielded ribbon cable on the SD card side and the unshielded one on the display side, even though they're labeled the opposite way. The second problem I encountered was that the motor wires seemed to be reversed. For some reasons, the motors are wired so with the stock firmware, up is down, right is left, and forward is back. This is an easy fix. Just take the connector apart and reverse the wires. Third problem I encountered is this is a clone of the original Ultimaker to a fault. That is, they even copied the bad parts of the Ultimaker 2, which specifically is the 4-pin non-locking power connector it comes with. After a while, the connection starts becoming unreliable and the lights will actually blink when the heated bed comes on before the connection fails altogether. I ended up modding the printer with an aviation plug for power instead of the original 4-pin DIN connector. Problem 4. Initially, I ran into many problems with filament jamming. I eventually determined this was due to a problem with the stock filament tube. Replacing it with the standard PTFE one seemed to correct the issue. Problem 5. After the machine passed 1,000 hours, I started having more problems with jams and inconsistent extrusion. Eventually, I figured out that the PTFE liner in the hot end actually had become worn out and was no longer sealing properly. Replacing this with a new unit fixed the issue. Problem 6. This is the only problem I've run into with these machines that doesn't have an easy fix. The heat bed, after many cycles, has become ever so slightly warped. As a result, it no longer seats properly against the glass, but this doesn't really seem to really impact the machine. Finally, let's talk about print quality. I would say overall it is very good, very accurate, but it's not perfect. For some reason, there is a pattern around the prints that is indicative of the GT2 belts not properly meshing with the pulleys. It is very subtle, not that noticeable, and one day I may tackle this by replacing all the stock pulleys with better quality ones. Overall, I'm quite satisfied with these machines and would recommend them to anyone who wants Ultimaker 2 or Ultimaker 2 Plus at a significant discount. Although there may not be a warranty, for the price of one genuine one, you can buy the clone plus 3 spare machines. Either way, you're coming out way ahead by buying the clone versus the original.